Hi, in this demo we're going to look at how we get the drawing information from the catalog into the user interface of the application. And then in the next demo we'll look at how we actually draw that on the detail view controller in a new view. So this is really kind of you can look at it as a two-part demo. The first thing we're going to look at is remind ourselves of the catalog schema in the database. So I've got SQLite 3 up here, and I'll just take the schema of the catalog table, and you can see here that we have added, just a reminder, a text field called drawing order. So that's all we want to look at there, and we'll quit SQLite and get out of this terminal window. So just to remind you that we've added that into the catalog. Now in the parts model, obviously we've had to do some things where we get the catalog table to get that field in as well. So we're getting, in all catalog parts, we're actually just selecting star from catalog, which means get all the fields. But then we need to get that into the dictionary that we pass back to the application. So we're adding a new object to our values array, and this is just a string with the format of the string, and then selecting column 5. Since we're getting all values, remember that we're getting the ID as well, and the ID is column 0. So we get column 5, and that gives us our drawing information. So now if we look at this mutable array of values, the indices are the first index, which is 0, 1, 2, 3 is the index of our drawing order information. So now in the adding view controller, we've added a field, a text field, for the drawing order. And that is bound back to our method, actually, to end editing text, because we want the keyboard to be dismissed when that text field is done. But that is also now bound in the adding view controller, and we'll look at that header file here. It is also bound to a new text field outlet called tfDrawOrder. And of course, tfDrawOrder has been synthesized and so forth. The other thing that we were required to do is when the user did finish entering text and when the button add is tapped, we have to delegate back to partsless view controller. So we've changed the definition of that delegate method in the adding view controller to user did add part and so forth, but we've added a 5th parameter, draw order, and we're passing back that NS string. So that's pretty simple. And then of course partsless view controller just passes this back to the main view controller, which passes it through to the parts model to go ahead and list out the catalog or add it into the catalog. So the last thing we need to look at in the parts model is adding that part to the catalog. Add to catalog. So here it is. We have our draw order here, and then insert into catalog, and we've added that drawing order and then brought in the string part drawing order. So that's it. That's really all we need to do. Now on the other side of the coin, we've got our detail view controller. So in the detail view controller, we've added a string pDrawOrder. So when the detail view controller is displayed from the partsless view controller, in other words, in the segue, we need to set pDrawOrder to the object at index 3 out of the array that we get from all catalog parts. So that's how that gets there. Okay, so now looking further at the detail view controller, we can see that detail view controller has also added a property here which is of type detail drawing. Now detail drawing is a UI view, and we've added that class. We can see it here in our navigator listing, and I'll look at that here in the next demo. But detail drawing needs to be initialized, and it's initialized by the detail view controller. So if detailed drawing does not exist, we lazily instantiate it. And what we're doing is we're making a drawing frame. From our second discussion, we talked about frame coordinates and bound coordinates. The frame coordinates are the location within our detail view controller where we're going to draw this new view. So we make a rectangle, and this is just underneath that detail button. And then we set the detailed drawings frame coordinates by initializing it with that CGRect object. And then we set the background color to a clear color because we want whatever we draw there to show up as the drawing against the existing background of the detail view controller. If we don't set the background color here, what will happen is we will have, by default, a black background for the view. And that's not what we want. Not black, not white, but transparent. And then we return the detail drawing. So now, when we'll look at parse draw order next time. When the view did appear, what we do is we set the drawing instructions within that detail drawing, and we have a property here, an NS array called drawing instructions, and somehow we're going to convert that NS string that comes out of the database into an NS array so that we can draw it in our detail drawing object. So back in detail view controller, we set the drawing instructions to the parse draw order return value that we're going to look at next time, and then we add detail drawing as a subview of this controller's main view. And so when we run the app, and again, I'm not explaining in this demo how we get the string to be drawn here, but when we run the app, we can see that, for example, in my main view controller setup, I have added to catalog 2 parts, and I've just added draw orders. And the idea here is we're going to parse out a string from the database. So the string is, first of all, the color values, then the number of points, and these are colon separated, and then the actual XY coordinates for each point within the view, within the detailed drawing view's bounds. And so I've got a draw order set here for my red square. This is 1001, which is red, green, blue, and alpha. And then here I've got a blue triangle, and this is 001 for blue and 1 for alpha, and then my points. So this is an isosceles triangle with a point at the middle at the top, and then 2 points down at the lower left and lower right corners. So that's it. That's how it gets in. Now, as I run my application, we can see that if I bring up the triangle, indeed, we have drawn a blue triangle, and we've listed out the array so that we can see what's actually getting drawn. And this is the output of our parse function that we'll talk about next time. And then if I go back and look at my square, we can see that indeed it's a red square. Thank you very much.